And when I was a little kid, I'd carry around my briefcase of business. And in junior high, I was selling candy to students. By high school, I was playing the stock market. And when I was 21, I had already won my first Cadillac selling Shackley vitamins. And I told myself when I'm 35, I'm going to have my first jet. And I'm going to be on the Forbes 400 list when I'm 50. And thank God they all happened, Larry. And I always wanted to succeed. You know, I wish I wouldn't have dropped out of college because I was making money because I only had like 32 hours to go. Yeah, but you know what? But now I'm the longest running chairman of the Board of Regents of that university, so it really doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So, but that bothered me for a long time that I never finished school. But then as you become more and more successful and you see all these other guys in the Forbes 400 too that never finished school
like,
because there's something in us that we just can't have those handcuffs on it. We're making money and I can't deal with going to class. I gotta make money. And when I was 21 years old, I was already making, you know, a couple $100,000 a year. That's big money.
Big
back
money
then.
Back in what, the
80s,
70s?
Yeah, the early 80s.
Wow,
I mean,
that's big money.
Big money. You know, and people don't realize that when you say I was making a couple $100,000, but that was big money.
Huge
big
money.
money.
And when you think about the fundamentals of a business, when you're going in to evaluate a deal or whatever, what like key things do you look for?
Occupancy cost, term of lease, do they own any real estate? What are their margins? I'm not real smart, but I know how to do that. Okay, I can analyze the numbers of any business and tell you what your margin should be or whatever because my production cost is this, I have this many subscribers, you should be doing this or that, and I don't care what the business is. So that's what I know how to do. And so if I try to make the right deal and I do heavy due diligence and then hopefully you can continue to grow your net worth. You know, I think you know if you know business or not. And people ask me, should I go get my MBA? And you know what I usually tell them? You know if you need to go get your MBA. If you don't have it inside of you and you understand economics and finance and operations of business, then you need to go get it. I knew that I didn't need it. It was just a God-given gift. But also remember, I didn't get a lot of those other gifts. Don't ask me to play that guitar. Don't ask me to sing you a song. And don't ask me to draw you anything. But you've got to know your God-given gifts. And everybody has it. Everybody in this room has it right here. So do what you know was your God-given gift and find a way to use that as your path. This is the problem with college, and is that they teach you the theoretical side of everything for the person that's working for you, but it doesn't teach you to be the CEO, the practical side, and the young entrepreneur, whether you're trying to go up the corporate ladder or you are doing it your own. And it's just the simple things of know your numbers, okay? You've got to know your numbers. There are no spare customers. We're all in a consumer business. People watching this podcast for you or me serving casino customers, restaurant customers, hotel customers. There are no spare customers. We're all after the same consumer. To the 95-5 rule, that 95% of everything is right, so look for the 5% that's wrong. To the take the word no out of your damn vocabulary. Why does everybody say no in the hospitality business? It's 11:02 and I've called down to order breakfast because I was on a business call and they say, I'm sorry, sir, we don't serve breakfast anymore. Just throw a couple of eggs in a skillet, scramble them, and send them up with one of those pieces of bacon that you've got cooked for that club sandwich. No, sir, we don't serve breakfast anymore. Well, you're going to throw a piece of chicken or a hamburger in that skillet for that chicken salad or that hamburger. Just throw me a couple of eggs that are sitting right there in that refrigerator. I'm sorry, sir, we don't serve breakfast anymore. Why do we feel like we have to say no?
Yeah.
Okay, so I try to live by, because I know I'm after that customer, there are no spare customers, that consumer, we don't tell our customer no, okay? And especially in LA, a lot of these super chef-driven restaurants, there's a restaurant in town that will only serve a steak medium rare. And I'm not gonna say who it is, I'm not ever gonna go after a competitor, but you're gonna tell me how to order your steak?
Yeah.
And that's part of the society today is we're not worried about hospitality anymore or service anymore. A lot of the most expensive hotels now are these minimalistic hotels where they don't have any service, they don't have anything. But I'm paying more for a room there than a 5-star hotel. The most expensive hotels now are not your 5-star hotels.
Yeah.
They're minimalistic hotels that can't even get 2-star.
Yeah.
What happened to service and hospitality?
Yeah.
Even today, you know, and I came out yesterday, was number 140 on the Forbes list, 4.9 billion. I still get up every day and worry if that paddle's going to get my ass.
Wow.
Okay, and the day you stop worrying and you just spin freely, the paddle's going to get you, because you don't know what's going to happen. Is our government going to change to a socialist government? Is all of a sudden somebody going to come out and the millennials say we're never going to eat meat again?
Right.
You know, you just don't know.
Yeah.
But we've seen some crazy things happen in our world and during my lifetime, and in your lifetime already.
Yeah.
So remember, I mean, I'm the one who grew up and you had one telephone and in the house, and if you wanted to talk to your friends, you went to that telephone, and it was just a different world. It was just a different world.
Did luck play a part in this?
You always have a little luck, but you also set yourself up in a position to be lucky. And, you know, somebody asked me, what about all these tech billionaires that all of a sudden they become millionaires just because they created a little app that never was going to really be successful? But you know what? They got lucky because a bigger company bought them, but they still set themselves up by being in the right place and creating something.
Why should someone like myself or a business owner get a line of credit, get cash out, even if they're already thriving and doing well and they've got cash in the bank? What's the importance of that?
Well, everybody does different things, and you got to do with what you're comfortable with. And I've always been comfortable with borrowing money, but that's also my success, because the world was created because of leverage finance. Okay, there's the reason that you had, you know, all the tech companies and the media companies and the great big casinos in Vegas, the things that cost billions of dollars.
They had to raise a lot of money.
You did it with leverage finance, with my good friend in California, Michael Milken, really came up with. But that's why there was such an explosiveness in the 80s, because of leverage finance. I've always been scared of debt, but I haven't been scared of debt. I never had a problem with using it, but I talk in my book this is the problem that we all do, is say you have a small business and you want to go out and borrow some money, and you do a pro forma for the bank, a budget, you know, to keep it simple for people. People always give a budget that is the best case scenario, and they start to drink their own Kool-Aid and think that's what they're going to do. Well, one of the things that
projections, like, here's where we're going to be in 3 years and 5 years.
Yeah, or even next year. And what I've always done is I've done that for the bank, but even today, in a deal that I bought last week, I want a worst case scenario.
Wow.
The world's coming apart. Okay, and all of a sudden all your expense accounts are gone, and are people still going to eat steaks?
Yeah.
And I run a budget and a pro forma based on that.
Wow.
So best case scenario, worst case scenario. Because you know what happens 80% of the time? The worst case scenario.
Really?
Yes, that's just life.
Right.
And that's a tool that I've always used, because what happens is they give that to the bank or to whoever, and all of a sudden you start drinking your own Kool-Aid like that's easy to do. It's not easy to do. Being successful in business is not easy.
Yeah.
But that's why I talk about just simple tools in here. When HarperCollins came to me, they didn't say we want a life story. We see you on your show. We see you on these business talk shows. We read these articles. We want you to write about your tools, why you've never failed and you've made it through all these recessions. Whether you're a corporate person or you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Why did you get to go like this? It never really went like this.
Right.
So.
Also, people tell me that the restaurant business is the toughest business to run from afar. How can you run 18 restaurants?
Well, I'll run 600.
How can you?
You know, it's systems and controls, and you've got to have a strong culture, and you've got to have a good HR department. And I've been successful because not only do I open up a lot of restaurants, I've bought a lot of restaurant companies because upstairs the management wasn't doing a good job. I mean, I've made myself, you know, understand IT, information technology, and I've just still made myself understand technology, even though I'm not a millennial. I try to at least know a little bit about every single department, even if I don't know it a lot. Just sitting down and say, you got to make me smarter on this. You got to help me through these steps, because I don't get it. Don't go into too much minutia, because you'll lose me, because I'm not that smart.
but you got to give me the steps of why this is happening or not happening. And that's something that everybody should do. You don't have to understand, that I'm going to go and be able to program something or write something, but we should all, if we're running a company, understand some portion of it. When I'm shooting Billion Dollar Buyer, I know what all these different people do and exactly what they're doing and how important, each person is. And it's just trying to understand what you do, and it makes you appreciate that person and how smart they are at that job too, and how important they are to your company.